So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. Today's story isn't just another YouTube video. It is a message of strength, inspiration, courage, and hope. It is a story of grief and scandal. It is a story of a woman who has known pain in its rawest form, but rather than get swallowed in calamity, she turned her pain to purpose. It is the true life story of TOKE MAKINWA. TOKE MAKINWA is a Nigerian radio personality, a TV host, a model, vlogger, entrepreneur, author, actress, and fashion influencer. This 41-year-old beauty hails from Idanre in Ondo State, southwestern region of Nigeria. She was born on the 3rd of November 1984 to Mrs. Mudukwe Monica MAKINWA and her father, Caleb Ifemayowa MAKINWA. It was a family of 6, so she had 3 other siblings. Now, before we forget, because it is customary here to remind you that if you are seeing my face for the first time, you're coming across this channel for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, take a minute, take a second, take a while to hit the subscribe button. Give this video a big thumbs up. Whenever you come in, greet me hello by giving a thumbs up. Drop your comments down in the comment section as we proceed, and stay glued, for we have so much more coming your way. TOKE was born into a decent, middle-class, close-knit Christian family. Her father worked with the government and her mother was a teacher.
I came from a very loving home. My parents were devout Christians, staunch Christians at that, and we had a lot of family values, which was great.
She was raised with strong family values, firmly structured around love, integrity, and most notably, industriousness.
And he was very hardworking. Hard work has been the bedrock of my foundation because both my parents worked really hard.
Oh, she did have very hardworking parents who modeled the lifestyle of hard work by example. After closing from work, TOKE's father would convert one of his 2 cars into a taxi. He will put on his face cap and hit the road as a taxi driver just to get a few more bucks for the family.
My dad worked with the government, and even at that point, I remember when he got his 2nd car, and he would drive the car as a taxi.
As a taxi,
after
yes,
work.
yeah.
And I didn't even know that. And I know he had this brown hat that he would always wear to disguise himself because he probably didn't want people to recognize him. But he did what he had to do for the family.
He was also taking classes, studying to become a lawyer.
My dad was very young. He worked with the government in Nigeria, and he also took law school exams at night because he was also studying to be a lawyer.
TOKE's mother, on the other hand, was fire. In addition to her teaching job, she also had several other businesses, distribution of drinks, tailoring shops, name it. She had over 8 shops in Abuja where she ran multiple businesses to supplement her income.
Both my parents worked really hard. My mom was a teacher,
Okay.
so she ran about 8 stores in Abuja.
Wow.
She had a tailoring shop, a cooking one. She was just involved in so many. She would also distribute soft drinks and bakeries to lots of the hotels in Abuja. She was very busy.
TOKE recounted that as a child, she had seen her mother constantly close from her teaching job at about 2 p.m., jet off to Lagos from Abuja that same afternoon, get to Lagos, fix her supplies, and move back to Abuja, getting to Abuja by 5 a.m. the next day. And she will still be on time to her day job at 8 a.m. Mommy was a hustler.
And my mom would teach in the morning. When she's done teaching in Abuja, she would take a flight to Lagos to go and buy drinks, food stuff. She used to bake as well. And then she would take a night bus back to Abuja, same day, and be at class at 8 a.m. the next morning. And she would supply drinks to a chain of hotels in Abuja back when I was young.
Toke was a very bubbly and happy child. She recalls always being in high spirits, always talking, always expressing herself. She said that she would talk and talk and talk so much that her father would have no other option but to make her sit beside him and read newspapers, or he would give her a very tight knot for her to unknot it, just in a bid to keep her sitting and still for some minutes.
I think right from a very young age, my folks probably thought that I was going to be a lawyer because I couldn't just keep quiet. I was always the girl who, would talk so much at home. I remember my dad, one of my earliest memories is of my dad knotting his trousers so tight, and he would either have me sit by the corner and read a newspaper, and he would say, read to me, because he just wanted me to keep quiet. Because if I'm not doing that, I'm singing, I'm shouting, I'm jumping, and I'm just causing chaos somewhere around the house. And after I've read over and over and over again and I get bored, then he would tell me, try and loosen this knot, knowing that it would take me a while and I'll be quiet, while he completely slips off, honestly. So I think that, yes, they always thought I would be the lawyer of the family because I enjoy talking a lot.
Such was the gregarious spirit and the personality that she had. And so her father would tease her that she was going to become a lawyer because of how much she talked.
My dad always thought I was going to be a lawyer. He used to say to me, when I get into trouble, you bail me out. There were times that he would literally have to give me a newspaper and tell me to sit down and read just to keep me quiet. My report card in school, Toke could be doing very well if she just learns to talk less.
Now, excuse me, parents. Excuse me, I beg your pardon. What have we lawyers done to you? That anybody that is a talkative, whether the person knows what they're saying or not, you begin to tell the person you should have been a lawyer. Anybody that is stubborn or unnecessarily argumentative or has a sharp mouth, you begin to tell the person that the person should be a lawyer. What exactly do you take us for? Please, help us all. Help us. So yes, Toke had a very beautiful family and childhood. She grew up watching her parents so in love and dot on each other. She recalls her father asking her mother how she would be able to manage things if he passed. And her mother would be like, no. We are going to die together. We are going to go together.
Yeah. But I even still have some memories from when I was young. And my dad would say things like, if I'm gone tomorrow, how would you take your family? And my mom is like, we're going together.
We'll die together.
We'll die together. And
they were such a beautiful family. Very young parents. Toke's mother was only 33, had her 4 children, while her father was only 36. They were living fine in their Abuja home, doing okay financially. The kids were growing healthy and fine. They had a beautiful future ahead of them until tragedy struck and her life will change forever. Around early 1993, when Toke was only 8 years of age, her mother had perceived the smell of gas in the house, and she was like, what's going on? I smell something. So while in the bid to trace it, find what exactly was going on, and perhaps get somebody to come check it out, she instructed the help not to put on the gas and that she should tell the other help as well. Unfortunately, that warning was not passed on, and so the other help walked into the kitchen, tried to light the stove, and boom! There went a heavy, deadly explosion. The house help that lit the stove died immediately. Toke heard the loud bang, which she first thought was thunder. But as she inched closer to where the flames was coming from, her life stopped. Her 8-year-old self stood glued to the ground, watching her mother burn. She will soon realize that her father as well was at another corner burning. They were both rushed to the hospital. Fortunately, at the time, they both survived the gas explosion, so they were both at the hospital receiving treatment. Family and friends prayed, cried, hung on to hope, called on God. But as TOKE put it, the phone lines to heaven were not answered.
I can only just imagine hours after the explosion, what went through her mind today, knowing that her life was never going to be the same and she might not make it, and having 4 children. Nobody can talk to me about what was going on in heaven that day. Clearly the phone lines were not answered.
TOKE's mother was the first to pass at the hospital. And at first, they did not tell her husband, TOKE's father, who was recovering and lucid at the hospital. But suddenly, he began calling out for his wife, seeking to reunite with her. Despite everybody's efforts to comfort him, he stayed adamant that he wanted his wife. Oh, they begged him. They pleaded with him and told him, Dupe, remember your 4 children, please. But he kept on kicking on the air as if struggling to open a door, an invisible door. I guess he succeeded because he exited through the door. TOKE's father died very shortly at the hospital just after her mother. Her parents were buried side by side at their hometown in Ondo State, just as they had always wanted it, leaving behind 4 little, confused and traumatized children. May God continue to rest their souls. Immediately afterwards, TOKE and her siblings were taken up by foster parents. They were removed from their home in Abuja and moved to Lagos to live with their eldest aunt, whom they called Big Mommy, in Ikoyi. And although TOKE has recounted on several occasions that her foster parents were good people and they did their very best raising her and her siblings, her life was already altered and shattered. It could never be the same. The trauma had transformed her from that bubbly, happy, top-performing child to one who was melancholic, anxious, afraid, and withdrawn. Back then, the idea of therapy was still very novel. Not to talk about grief therapy, which those children needed. There was no mental health awareness at the time. There were no pep talks. Nobody talked to her about it or had deep conversations with her about it.
It happened at a time where there was no access to therapy, and we just didn't talk about it. It was just a tragedy that happened.
It was just regarded as a tragedy which had happened and which everybody, though difficult, were expected to move on from.
So you never have that moment where there's a support system of, oh, your parents died, so come and cry on my shoulder. My aunt who took us in, she lost her best friend. That was her closest sibling.
And deal with it she tried to do. Every year, she, her siblings, and her foster parents will go to church for Thanksgiving to celebrate the lives of her late parents. And that was it. But the burden of watching her parents born and die the way they did in the mind of an 8-year-old baby was just too much. TOKE grew into a very angry, rebellious, defiant, and recalcitrant teenager.
I was a very angry teenager, you know, and it showed in certain decisions that I made growing up. You know, I was rebellious and I was really tough to raise. Shout out to my mom who took us in, who got down, rolled her sleeves up and decided to do the work. But
right.
It was tough for everyone.
From a very bright child who always aced her grades to one who was struggling academically. When it was time for her to go to high school, her parents put her in boarding school, which, by the way, was not very uncommon at the time. So she attended the Federal Government Girls' College in Oyo State. A phase that she has said that she passed through in a haze, not having much recollection of so much. It was almost as if she was numb and just existing. After secondary school, that's high school, TOKE moved back to Lagos. She gained admission into the University of Lagos, where she studied English language and literature.
So I went to uni to read English language and literature.
When TOKE graduated from university, She tried to live a normal, decent life. She secured a job at the bank and she was posted to the commercial banking unit.
Started working at the bank, actually, so I'd quit the dream of the media.
Oh, she hated her job terribly. She hated that she needed to be at the office at 6:45 a.m. every day. She hated the monthly performance review sessions where she was always being highlighted as a laggard. Now that is banking terms. A laggard means a non-performer, someone who isn't meeting their deliverables, their targets.
I wasn't happy. I came back home very frustrated. Early in the morning, every time I woke up and I knew I had to be at the banking hall for 6:45 a.m. I worked in commercial banking, the Dangote Group, I remember. I didn't like it. At NPR meetings, I was always picked up on. Everyone knew that I wasn't supposed to be there.
So she was always being hit and picked on. She said that the only thing she loved and enjoyed about working, about the banking work, was the fact that she could dress up and look sweet, put on high heels and put on TM shirts. That was the only part of the work that she liked. And her bosses would always reprimand her and tell her that this is not a fashion show. Is it only fashion you came here to do? This is not a fashion show. She said that during NPR one day, an ED, an executive director of the bank, called her and told her that it's as if you are not a good fit. You are not suited for this job. This is not a fashion parade ground. You don't belong here. He was right.
I remember one of my EDs saying to me, "You come to work like it's a fashion show." I think that's when they probably discovered that I liked fashion. From my heels to the color of my TM Louis shirts, blazers, like makeup. I was always dressed to the nines, but I didn't really care about the job. Do you know what I mean? And he always used to say to me, "This is not a fashion parade. You don't look like you belong here." And look at me today. So I guess he knew something that I didn't.
She was miserable. She had no fulfillment working there. She felt trapped. Her heart and her destiny was elsewhere, and so she made the big decision. She quit. TOKE began applying massively to radio stations. The Beat FM, Ray Power, Rhythm FM, name it. And she kept on getting no, and more no's.
Let's apply to radio stations. I went to Ray Power. I went to Beat FM. I didn't go back to Cool FM. I went to Rhythm.
She would attend auditions upon auditions. No one was forthcoming. It was so bad that on this fateful audition, on this particular occasion, the person that she took to escort her, just imagine you have a job opportunity and you ask a friend, "Baby, Oku, please escort me to this place I want to go for." And the person they escort was picked for the job and she was declined.
I remember the days when I would go for auditions and I would get doors slammed in my face. Yes, it happened to me. I remember the days when I wanted it so bad and I would cry at night and feel like, "Lord, why am I not getting the big break?" I remember when people just wouldn't pick me for hosting gigs.
She got so many no's, but she did not raise the white flag. She was determined to succeed. Remember her foundation. Her parents had already instilled in her the spirit of doggedness and industriousness and believing in herself, even at that tender age. So she had a spirit that was hard to break. And she kept on pushing, she kept on applying. Finally, it was her lucky day. And the Rhythm called her. She was so excited. But to her utmost shock, after resuming her job with Rhythm, and the OAPs, that's the on-air personalities, right, were fixed at their various programs to handle, she was given the graveyard shift. Now, OAPs describe the graveyard shift as those periods where there is not a lot of communication and radio presence online because maybe it is too late in the night and most people are asleep. So they assigned to her the very, very late night sessions where everybody will be sleeping. It's just like you dreaming to become a successful actress, and after audition upon auditions, you finally get picked for a role and you are given the Waka Pass role where human beings are acting and maybe somebody is just scratching their head and pass. That is the role they gave you. That was exactly the way TOKE felt.
And 3 days later, Rhythm called me back. I was going to hear back from Beats like 2 weeks after, but I'd started working at Rhythm. And then when I was going to be given a slot, I was given the graveyard shift. I could have been discouraged because at that point it's like the fun shows are over.
But again, she did not let that deter her. She didn't let it dampen her drive. She accepted her fate and said that she was going to make the best out of that opportunity, even if that opportunity seemed limited. And so she went to her drawing board and created the hottest playlist that Lagos has ever heard. Tigbedu with the bust brain. Oh my God. Chike and Mohbad said, music no need permission to enter your spirit. That was the kind of playlist that TOKE came up with. So despite she had a limited audience, she made sure that that little audience felt the hell out of her vibes. So people who were returning late from work, people who were going to the club or hang out early would always tune to her program and get the best time of their lives. And they would always call in the radio to compliment how good her collection was.
But I prided myself in creating the best playlist Lagos had ever heard. I was known for my playlist. Everyone who can't sleep, who's driving home at night will call and they're like, I just like the music. I just like your playlist. I just like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, quit waiting for the perfect opportunity because it may never come. But you are capable of turning that opportunity, which isn't perfect, to your perfect opportunity. TOKE sold herself, and in just 6 months handling the graveyard shift, she was elevated and promoted to the morning show, the most important segment of radio, the morning drive.
I was only there for 6 months. I was bumped up to the morning drive, which is the most important show on any radio station.
TOKE began co-hosting the almighty morning drive on Lagos Rhythm 93.7 FM. That was her big break. So TOKE took it up from there. She began attending events and functions, putting herself and her brand out there. She was her brand. Just as someone that buys and sells their goods is their brand. As a digital or media person, you are your brand. So she needed to advertise her wares, which was herself. So she would attend one function after the other, and oh my God, if you were familiar with those times, Linda Ikeji blog, can you tell me, if you remember, can you tell me the nickname that TOKE was given? She was given MTN. Everybody called her MTN everywhere you go. That was the slogan of MTN back in the day. I don't know whether they still have that slogan till today, but TOKE was called MTN. Everywhere you go, you're always everywhere. To fiakwa. But despite the world tried to turn her into a laughing stock, she knew that she needed the publicity, so she did not stop. Next thing she discovered was that brands were lobbying to dress her up, and they would send dresses and fashion items to her, and she would put it on. She didn't think much of it. She wasn't charging for it. She just thought that maybe they liked her or they liked the way the dress looked on her, until a vendor sent in an appreciation note and told her, my dear sister, thank you. Ever since you wore our outfits, we sold out. The business acumen in her ticked, and then she decided to monetize her looks. She began charging brands to wear their pieces, and they were paying.
So I would always be at events. I would always network, and I didn't realize why people kept on sending me stuff like designers. Oh, just wear this, wear that. I just thought, okay, they like me and they want me to wear their stuff. I didn't realize that they were selling out. So I would wear an outfit, I'll be photographed in it. They will sell out because people would want to buy the outfit and wear it as well. I think it was one designer who was kind enough to send me a note and an extra outfit saying, thank you so much. Once you wore our outfit, we completely sold out. We named this outfit after you. The business sense went off. I thought, what about getting monetized, getting my time monetized?
Even these events that she was attending for free. One day, just jokingly, a brand had reached out to her friend, and told him that, oh, we need TOKE to be here. And the friend told TOKE, and just jokingly, TOKE said, if you want me to come for your event, you're going to pay me. You're going to pay me. And they asked how much. She said 500,000 naira. She didn't even mean it. Much to her surprise, The host of the event immediately asked for her account details and wired the money. Another potential unlocked. She began charging for her presence. You want me to attend your occasion? You pay me for my brand. She was cashing in.
I remember the very first time I was invited to an event. My friend Swanky was sat there, and I was just like, I begged, tell them they have to pay me for me to attend. And we were laughing, and he's like, yeah, I'm a manager, you have to pay her. And they're like, how much? And Swanky said 500K. And they called back in 30 minutes and said, can we get your account details? I was like, it's over.
She made her big debut into television when she hosted Flytime Television's 3 Live Chicks, from there to Ebony TV, and then she began hosting Trending on Hip TV. There was no stopping her. She hosted the 2012 Most Beautiful Girl in Nigeria beauty pageant, and the same year she began her vlog series on YouTube called TOKE Moments. The very next year, in 2013, TOKE co-hosted the Future Awards Africa, and after that year she hosted the 2014 Headies Award. The brand ambassadorial deals began coming in. She signed a very big deal with Nestle Nigeria when she became a brand ambassador for Maggi, and then Lipton Tea came, then United Africa Company of Nigeria. TOKE won the Nigeria Broadcasters Award for Outstanding Female Presenter of the Year. This broken, scarred little girl was fast becoming a success, and it seemed like nature had finally begun compensating TOKE for the hard blow that it had dealt her with from a very early stage. It seemed like happily ever after was about to begin, but there was another major hit that would leave TOKE gargling on the floor, gasping for breath. Now the question is, how did TOKE end up in a marriage that would leave her flat on the floor? How did she end up a divorcee in her early 30s and now a single mother at 40? Her story is shocking, but it is very far from over. In our next video, we will discuss extensively this marriage and everything that's happened. So if you're new here, you're seeing my face for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop your thoughts down in the comment section, and stay glued, for there is so much more coming your way. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.